What's up, fam? This is K Steps, and I'm back with another episode of Undiluted TV. And today I want to come to you with a story that's very, very important um, because as foundational Black Americans, and because we've got this looming 2020 presidential election coming, and with everything that's going on as far as as far as politics are concerned, and as far as people trying to discredit foundational Black Americans, trying to discredit ADOS, trying to discredit DOAS, descendants of American slaves, trying to discredit the Tangible 2020 movement, trying to discredit Black voters by calling us Russian bots and all of this kind of stuff, and acting like we're being influenced by Russian bots online, when the article that came out, and the Senate report that came out was really talking about ads, the ad campaign that Russia had went on back in 2016 to try to influence the election. They were talking about the ads that were being placed on social media, Facebook, Instagram, especially Facebook and other places. They weren't talking about any kind of interaction that was going on social media. They weren't talking about fake accounts. They weren't talking about trolling. They were these articles and these reports were specifically talking about the ads that were being placed on these different social media sites. But since we are, since the Black voters are trying to be, they're trying to discredit us. They're trying to act like we don't have a voice, like we don't, we're not critical thinkers, like we can't think for ourselves, and like there's something wrong. There has to be something wrong. The Russians have to be involved. There has to be something going on if Black folks are all of a sudden saying we want tangibles. We want what every other group gets. We want what every other group wants. We want tangibles. We want something that's specifically for us. We want an agenda that specifically addresses our Black issues, our Black needs, our Black community. And we're no longer going to just give you our vote and get nothing in return. So since Black voters, and that's what foundational Black Americans and ADOS and all of us, that's what we're saying now, and that's what we're pushing. There has to be something wrong. It has to be Russian bots. It has to be a conspiracy. It has to be a disinformation campaign, because it's just not possible for these Black folks to get together and unify and codify and all stick to that same theme and all stick to that same agenda, tangibles. So because of everything that's going on, I think this story is very important to keep us in the right frame of mind, and to keep us and to keep us thinking critically, and to keep us thinking for ourselves, and to keep us thinking outside the box that we've been thinking in for the last 50, 60 years. To keep us with our eyes open, to keep us with our minds open, and to keep us recognizing all of these tricks, all of these Trojan horses, all these little symbolic gestures and everything that the dominant society and the Democrats are good for throwing out at us. They're good for throwing out symbolic gestures, gestures that have symbolism behind them, that don't actually have anything, no substance whatsoever. They're just symbolic gestures, symbolic gestures of goodwill that mean absolutely nothing. And we've seen that over and over and over again, year after year, decade after decade, and we still walk away empty handed. Yes, we have your symbolic gesture, but we don't have anything real. We don't have anything tangible. Whereas you're giving these other groups and these other ethnic groups, you're giving them tangibles. You're giving them something they can walk away with. You're giving them something in their hand, something other than just, some symbolic gesture. So that's the reason why I want to bring you this story. So let's just go ahead on and get right in it. As you know, this year all five of the major pageants, each one was won by a black woman, right? And in these different articles and in these different videos and interviews and all that, they call them women of color, right? Why they just can't come out and say black woman, but they were all black women. And I find that very suspicious that in 2019, right here with this whole election process, and we're about to be in another election cycle, and with all of this that's going on as far as politics and as far as the foundational Black Americans are concerned, and as far as ADOS and tangibles and reparations and all of this kind of stuff that's going on, I find it real suspicious that all five are black women, that all five winners are black women. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to disrespect black women. Of course not. I'm a black woman. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm very proud of these black women. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not proud of them because the dominant society decided to say that they were beautiful. Because the dominant society decided to say and recognize and acknowledge that they were intelligent and they were poised and all of that. No, I'm proud of them because they are all of that and more, whether the dominant society ever acknowledges them or recognizes them or whatever. They were already that and more because of the way they present themselves to the world. So they didn't need, the acknowledgement from the dominant society and some symbolic gesture of winning some beauty pageant or whatever for them to be all of a sudden become these beautiful, poised, intelligent young black women that they've always been. And why now? Why all five? So I'm going to tell you what I think it is. But first I want just to, I want to read a little bit of this article that's coming from CBS News. Chavez Clark, December 26, 2019. Historic win. Oh, this is historic. 5 black women now hold the top pageant crowns. Another week, another history-making milestone in the beauty pageant world. For the first time ever, black women wear the crowns of Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, Miss America, Miss Universe, and now Miss World. Miss Jamaica, Tony Ann Singh, was crowned the 69th Miss World at a ceremony at the Exhibition Center in London on Saturday. Singh, the fourth Jamaican to win Miss World, stunned the judges with her rendition of Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing and her responses to their questions. Okay, so let me give you their names. Miss America is Nia Franklin. Miss Universe is Zozibini Tunzi. Miss World is Tony Ann Singh. Miss USA is Chelsea Christ. And Miss Teen USA is Callie Garris. So they got all 5 of the top spots. These black women, they got all 5 of the top spots, right? Okay. And they got all 5 of the top spots during a time when metoo is going crazy. Although it's not growing crazy with the right people, but anyway, we'll get into that. They won these spots at a time when the Democrats are kind of in a tight spot. They sent out Kamala Harris, who was supposed to be the female version of Obama 2.0. She was hailed as this black woman, although she's Jamaican, she's half Jamaican and half Indian, and she doesn't identify as a black woman. She had this horrible record as far as being a DA and an attorney general in California, especially towards Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, especially foundational Black American males. And she was supposed to be the woman, that the Black woman that was going to come out, and she was just going to snatch up all the Black vote, and she was just going to snatch up all the Black female vote, and she was just going to perform like a whirlwind. And now she's completely out of the race. Well, the only quote unquote Black person that's still in the race is Cory Booker. And because Cory Booker couldn't meet the numbers and couldn't meet the requirements, he will not be on the debate stage the next time they have a debate. So there will be nobody Black on that stage. And the only person that could even remotely be called a minority that would be on that stage will be Andrew Yang, right? Okay, so now as the Democrats, they have nobody that's going to be on this next debate stage that can speak directly to Black people, that can speak directly to the foundational Black American voters, right? So they're stuck. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, and we just had Kamala Harris do a tweet on Twitter, and she did this little video where she was telling Black women that Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, right? Okay, we heard Shireen Mitchell say the exact same thing in that little stunt that she pulled with Joy Reid on AM Joy, that Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, right? Okay, so you're telling Black women that they are the backbone of the Democratic Party. You're telling the Black women that they are so important to the Democrats, and they are so important to the election, and they are so important in this process, in this whole democratic process, and all of that, so that you can get Black women to vote, and so that you can get Black women to vote Democrat. Then, all of a sudden, for the first time in history, Black women win all 5 of the major crowns, the major pageant crowns. You get Oprah all of a sudden coming out and deciding that she's going to do another documentary after the smear campaign that she allowed herself to be a part of with Michael Jackson and that whole Leaving Neverland thing. Now you've got Oprah coming out talking about she's getting ready to do another documentary about sexual assault, sexual misconduct, or whatever, featuring Russell Simmons, another Black man. Meanwhile, Harvey Weinstein is over here settling out of court with all but 2 of his accusers. We'll do a separate video on that. But yeah, Harvey is over here while you're talking about doing a documentary on Russell Simmons. No charges have been brought against this man. As far as I know, and as far as I've seen, no real evidence has come out that this man has done anything of the sort. He has admitted that back in the day, he was a womanizer. He was a playboy. But he also lets it be known that he's never had to force himself on anybody. He never had to rape or sexually assault anybody, right? But while you're over here talking about you joining with Apple to do this documentary on Russell Simmons, Harvey Weinstein, like I said, has a $25 million tentative settlement with all but 2 of his accusers. So again, you're presenting that picture of the Black woman, as I said in my video, speaking directly to this Oprah Winfrey thing. You're presenting this picture of the Black woman that feels like the Black man is is a sexual deviant. He's a sexual predator. He's a threat. And as the black woman, you feel it's necessary for you to come out and for you to put all these black men on blast and do all these documentaries on black men with no proof, no evidence whatsoever. And in the case with Michael Jackson, with 2 alleged victims who have been proven to be liars. Right? So what is this really all about? What is this really all about? Why now do we all of a sudden in 2019? I mean, come on, it's 2019. This is not the first time we should have had all black women win pageant crowns. This should have happened years ago. The dominant society decides when the time comes for these things to happen. We don't have a choice in that. The dominant society decides all of that. The dominant society decides when it's time for there to be history made as far as black people are concerned in America. The dominant society decides that. And the dominant society decided, okay, well, it's time to make history. It's time to make sure that all 5 crowns go to black women. Why? Because we have to convince black women of how important they are. We have to convince black women of how needed and how beautiful and how intelligent they are. Especially compared to black heterosexual men who we are trying to convince the world are nothing but sexual deviants and sexual predators and criminals and thugs, exhibiting all that toxic masculinity. So we have got to lift up the black woman, especially here in America. We've got to lift up the black woman. You understand what I'm saying? We've got to raise her up. We've got to acknowledge how beautiful she is and how intelligent she is and how poised she is and how important she is in the democratic process and how important she is to the Democratic Party, that she's the very backbone of the Democratic Party. Just like, they gave us that whole bullshit spiel back in the 70s and 80s that, in the late 60s, that the black woman was the backbone of the black family. So now she's the backbone of the Democratic Party. So we've got to lift her up. We've got to raise her up. We've got to let her know that she's being accepted in the dominant society and she's being praised by the dominant society. And the dominant society is accepting her beauty and accepting her poise and putting her out there for the whole world to see. This is the beautiful queen. This is the beautiful Miss Universe. This is the beautiful Miss Teen USA. This is the beautiful Miss USA. This is the beautiful Miss World. And she's a black woman. And because black folks are so, not all, but because most black folks are so needy when it comes to acceptance and approval from the dominant society, they're going to eat this up. So here's another round of black girl magic. Here's another round of the black woman is so much better and so much more important. You understand what I'm saying? And so much more significant than the black man, who is nothing but a criminal, nothing but a sexual deviant, nothing but a sexual predator. We have to rid the streets of the black heterosexual man. We have to do documentaries talking about his debaseness and his treachery and just how awful and criminal he is. While on the other hand, the beautiful black woman is being lifted up and she's being praised and she's being acknowledged by the dominant society. And she's being called, don't forget, she's being called the backbone of the Democratic Party. And I'm going to find that video that Kamala Harris did, and I'm going to link it in the description, in the description box, so that you can see what I'm, so that you can go and you can see this video yourself, where, you know, she tries to parade around all these black women, you know, and all of this. I mean, these feminists are really, really, really trying to play a serious Jedi mind trick on black women. Black women, beware. Be careful. See this for what it is. See this for the empty symbolism and the empty symbolic gesture that it is, because that's all it is. Because at the end of the day, you're still a black woman in America. And this is not offering you any tangibles. This is not offering you anything that's going to make your community as a whole better, that's going to make your life as a whole better. This is not them offering you some kind of way for you to build generational wealth that you can pass down to your children and your children's children. Because after your year is up, they're going to take that crown off of your head and they're going to put it on somebody else's head. And it's not like you're going to be able to pass that crown down to your daughter and then she passed it down to her daughter. It's just a symbol. It's just symbolic. Doesn't mean anything. And you don't need anybody from the dominant society telling you how beautiful you are, how wonderful you are, how intelligent you are, how poised you are, how strong you are. Notice, the black woman is the backbone of everything. Which implies that we're just so much stronger than everybody else. That we can carry, the whole black community on our backs. We can carry the whole Democratic Party on our backs. We can carry everything on our backs. Why? Because we're so strong. Well, where do we get all that strength from? Being slaves. You don't hear them say that about white women. You don't hear them saying that about Asian women. You don't hear them saying that about Hispanic women, that they're the backbone of the family. They're the backbone of the community. They're the backbone of this party, or the backbone of that party, or the backbone of this organization. Why? Because those women were never expected to be that kind of strong. The men in their communities were the ones that were considered to be the backbone of the family, the backbone of this, the backbone of that, because it was the man that carried the weight. But remember, we're just a bunch of old black slaves. So our backs are supposed to be strong enough to carry the family, to carry the community, to carry your political party, to carry whatever you want us to carry. So all we still are to you is a bunch of slaves that you dressed up, put some crowns on our head, you understand what I'm saying, and paraded us around in front of everybody. But we're still expected to be stronger than any other group of women. We're still expected to carry everything on our back. Now, that's all from that article I was going to read. I just wanted to get their names and the different titles that they had won. Because remember, they're still just titles. They're not backed with any real tangibles. They're not backed with any money to invest. They're not backed with any opportunities to open a business. They're not backed with any opportunity to build generational wealth here in America that could be passed down to their kids, to their families. So they are still empty, symbolic gestures, right? Okay. Now on CNN, this chick did an interview with Miss America, Miss Universe, and Miss USA. And this is what Miss America had to say. And I want you to listen very carefully to what she has to say, because I'll let you hear a clip from something somebody else, one of the other girls said in a minute. But first, I want you to hear what Miss Universe had to say. And Miss Universe is, let me go back over here and get her name. Miss Universe is Zozibini Tunzi. You know, now I might not be pronouncing it right, but that's Miss Universe. And let's see if I can get where she's from. She's from South Africa, okay? Now, I want you to hear what she had to say, because she won Miss Universe. So I want you to hear what she has to say.
When she saw those people do those things, she felt like she could do it too. I mean, we can't be what we cannot see. And so I think that's why this is so important, because then, you know, young girls can look at us and feel like, you know, they too are important. Also, it's just a matter of, you know, sometimes you walk into a casting or you walk into a job interview, and if you see one other person of color or one other black woman, you know it's either you or her. It can never be both of you, because there's only one seat at the table. But now this proves that there can actually be 4 seats at the table. You know, it can be all of us. It doesn't have.
Now, I want you to get back to what she just said. We're going to go, I want you to hear that just one more time, what she said about these seats at the table.
One seat at the table, but now this proves that there can actually be 4 seats at the table. You know, it can be all of us.
That goes back to what we've been talking about. That goes back to, you know, to how integration has programmed us, even down to the newest generations, that we got to have a seat at somebody else's table. We got to accept a seat at somebody else's table. You heard what she said. She said you walk into a casting, you know, maybe like a audition or something for a part or whatever, or you walk into a job interview and you see another person, another woman of color or another black woman, and you think, oh my God, you know, we really don't stand a chance, because, you know, only one of us can get it, because, you know, we're so used to there only being one seat at the table for somebody black, for a black woman. But now we see there are 4 seats at the table. This is the mindset that we've got to get rid of. This is the mindset that we have got to actively work to do away with. This mindset that we gotta have a seat at somebody else's table. We gotta have a seat at the dominant society's table, because if they give us a seat at the table, then that means that they accept us. That means that they like us. You know, that means that they love us. That means that they consider us equal to them. No. Because I guarantee you, if they give you a seat at the table, it'll be the lowest seat at the table, and you'll still be working for them. So we've got to get past this seat at the table mindset and get into what Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about. And we got to build our own tables. We got to build our own tables where we occupy every seat at the table. We've got to build our own businesses. Why can't we have our own Miss Universe, Miss Black Universe, you know, Miss Black USA, Miss Black America? Why can't we have our own pageant? Why can't we have our own awards ceremonies? It's time for us to have our own stuff. It's time for us to stop feeling like somehow we have arrived or we have accomplished something just because we get a little bit of acknowledgement or a little bit of praise or whatever from the dominant society. Like they didn't know we were already here. It's like all of a sudden they looked up, and realized, well, wait a minute, them black folks is here. They've always known we were here. They've always had the opportunities to give us and to open up doors for us and whatever, but they chose not to. Just like they're doing it, they're not doing it now because, oh, they just acknowledging you, and oh, they just woke up and realized that you're just so beautiful and you're just so intelligent that you deserve to be acknowledged. You deserve to be praised. You deserve to be trotted out in front of everybody. No, they're doing it now because it pushes their agenda. This agenda, this bullshit narrative that the black woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party. That the black woman is so important and so vital to the Democratic Party and the democratic process. Black folks, you need to stop. Foundational Black Americans especially. You need to stop needing the approval and the acceptance and the validation of the dominant society in order for you to feel like you're significant. In order for you to feel like you're special. Don't you realize that because you are a foundational Black American, you are one of the most exceptional people in this world? Do you not realize that because you still exist in America, and in some cases, some of us are thriving, do you not realize that that is an affront to the dominant society? You were been supposed to be gone. And everybody like you was supposed to be gone. Everybody like you was supposed to be wiped out. Either you were still supposed to be a slave in bonds or you were supposed to be gone. But you were not supposed to still be here in the United States of America, still fighting and still thriving. Realize that that makes you exceptional. That makes you peculiar. That makes you different from any other person on the face of this earth. Because of the brutality, because of the barbarism, of slavery, because of the dehumanizing of it, because it was so ugly and it was so treacherous and it was so diabolical and it was so evil. Because of that, and the fact that your ancestors survived it so that you could be here now, makes you a truly exceptional person. So you don't need any praise. You don't need any acceptance. You don't need any acknowledgement from the dominant society to make you special, to make you significant, to make what you bring to the table significant and of value and of worth. Just being who you are, you already far exceed everybody else in this world. And that includes the dominant society. So stop thinking that that's what we got to have. We got to have validation from them. We got to have acknowledgement from them. We've got to have acceptance from them. We got to have a pat on the back or a pat on the head from them. We got to have praise from them in order to feel significant, in order to feel like we have value, in order to feel like we have anything worthwhile to bring to the table. No, we ain't got to take nothing to their table. Build your own table. Build your own table. And force them to have to come and try to get a seat at your table. Instead of you always doing everything that you can to try to get some little puny seat at their table. But you heard what this young woman just said. I'm going to play it for you again.
Person of color or one other black woman, you know it's either you or her. It can never be both of you because there's only one seat at the table. But now this proves that there can actually be 4 seats at the table. You know, it can be all of us. It doesn't have to be.
You heard it. You heard her say it. And these are young women. These are young women. These are young women in their 20s from all over the place. and they all feel the exact same way, like they've done something exceptional, like they've done something that's just unheard of. No, you just did what the dominant society allowed you to do. If it wasn't you, it would have been somebody else. Why? Because they need you to fit that narrative. Hold on. They need you to work that work. You understand what I'm saying? They need you to be who they lift up and who they prop up. You understand what I'm saying? As maybe like a kind of way of confirming that black women are just so important. Black women are just, they must be lifted up. They must be propped up because they're so important. Why? Because they have to carry everything. Again, like I said, they have to be the backbone of the family. They got to be the backbone of the black community. Now they got to be the backbone of the Democratic Party. So so they need you to be the faces, the public faces of the beauty and the intelligence and the importance of the black woman. So don't get it twisted. It's not like all of a sudden they realized, you know what I'm saying? Oh, these black women are here. And oh, they're so beautiful. And oh, they're so intelligent. And oh, they're so poised. And oh, they just got their stuff together. And oh, we just, we need to laud them and we need to uplift them. No. Without realizing it, you have become a part of their agenda, especially the Democratic parties. Especially the Democrats right now. You have become a part of their agenda. Their agenda to continue to try to divide the black woman and the black man. You understand what I'm saying? By praising the black woman and uplifting the black woman and making the black woman think she's so important and she's so vital and just certain things just can't get done without the black woman, while over here on the other hand just tearing down and destroying the heterosexual black man. That's the agenda. For the Democrats to let the black women know, okay, we can offer you these titles and we can offer you these symbols and we can offer you these symbolic gestures, and we can lift you up and we can praise you, and we can tell you how beautiful and how important you are and all of that, because we know that you just starved to death for that kind of attention from the dominant society. So we can give you all the attention that you need. All we need from you is your vote. That's all we need from you is your vote. Now what we gonna do for you after we get your vote? Yeah, maybe a few more titles. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little bit more college education that you can't really use, and degrees that don't really mean anything. Maybe a little bit more student debt. But nothing tangible, nothing that you can pass down from generation to generation. No wealth. You understand what I'm saying? No protection under the law. Nothing that's really going to matter. We'll give you some more symbolism and some more crowns and some titles that don't mean anything, that you only get to keep for a year. And then once you done had it for a year, you pass it on to the next person. And the next person will probably be a white woman or somebody non-black, because we've gotten your vote now, so we don't need you anymore. We don't need to play this game with you anymore. And there was one other thing on here that I wanted you to hear.
That win, all of the top beauty pageant.
Hold on.
members, Susie Tunzi and Chesley Chris. Great to have all of you with us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have a powerhouse on the couch, which I love. But this is
You
such
hear
an
that?
important moment that we have women of color, Black women specifically, being represented in this way. When you look at not only the women sitting next to you on the couch, but when you think about this moment, what does it mean for you? And what does it mean for young girls and boys who are watching? Well, I think Black women need this. It's a symbol, and it shows that no matter where you're from, what country you're from, where you live in America, you can be successful and you can be a part of something great. It was just...
Now, did you hear what she said? I'm gonna take it back, and I'm gonna see if you picked up on what she said.
It shows that no matter where you're from, what country you're from...
That's not far enough. Let's get back far enough.
About this moment. What does it mean for you? And what does it mean for young girls and boys who are watching? Well, I think Black women need this. It's a symbol, and it shows that no matter...
She just said it herself. She did have said it herself without realizing what she's saying. It's a symbol. It's symbolic. It's a symbolic gesture. No more, no less. It carries no weight. It lasts only a year. Then you got to give it all back. The title, the crown, all of that is symbolic. It's a symbolic gesture that really has nothing behind it. Like I said, there's no wealth attached to it. There are no tangibles attached to it. There's nothing attached to it that you can build on. And that you can turn into something else. And that you can then pass down, you know, to the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that. Nothing. It's symbolic. She just said it herself. It's a symbol. Black women need this because what? It's a symbol. Because it symbolizes what? That the dominant society is recognizing you. That the dominant society is acknowledging you. That the dominant society is acknowledging, you know, the Black woman's contribution to this world. The Black woman shouldn't need anybody to acknowledge that for her. She should know that for herself. The Black woman is the mother of us all. The Black woman is the mother of civilization. Why does she need a title or a little crown or something, or a little bit of acknowledgement or praise that she's getting from the dominant society to make her feel like she's worthwhile? I'll let you hear that again. And notice the white woman doing the interview said girls and boys. When talking to Black women. Now, I guarantee you, if there had been 3 white women sitting in front of her, she wouldn't have said and boys. She would have said young girls.
And boys who are watching. Well, I think Black women need this. It's a symbol, and it shows that no matter where you're from, what country you're from, where you live in America, you can be successful and you can be a part of something great. It was just...
So this is what makes her feel successful. This is what makes her feel like she's a part of something great. Not her own individual accomplishments. Not the things that she has individually accomplished for herself. But just the simple fact that she got this acknowledgement from the dominant society. This is what she sees as success and as being a part of something great. This symbol. Black women, please get on your job and teach your daughters that this is not where it's at. This is not what we need. We don't need acceptance. We don't need a seat at somebody else's table. We don't need acknowledgement from them. to feel like we're successful, or like we're great, or like we're a part of something great. Black folks, please get rid of this mindset that we have got to have their acceptance, their approval, their acknowledgement, their recognition in order to feel like we are significant, like we are of value, and like what we have to bring to the table is of value. And like unless we get a seat at their table, then we're just not eating. You understand what I'm saying? We might have a seat at a table over here or a table over there. But unless we get a seat at their table, the dominant society, we're just not eating. But this is what's supposed to make us feel like we have arrived. Come on now. And stop falling for that strong. I did it for years. Stop falling for that strong black woman thing. Stop falling for that. They think you're the strong black woman because you're a slave. And in their eyes, you're still a slave. So your back is supposed to be strong enough to carry the family, to carry your community, to carry their organizations, to carry their political parties, and everything else. Don't let them put that on the black woman. Don't let them put that on us. That we're the backbone of their party. So therefore, because we're the backbone of the party, and because we are so vital to the Democratic Party, you understand what I'm saying? If we, it's our responsibility to uphold the Democratic Party. How? With our votes? No. Black women are not the founders of the Democratic Party. We didn't found the Democratic Party. We didn't create it. And it's not our responsibility to carry it on our backs. Just like it's not our responsibility to carry our communities on our backs, it's not our responsibility to carry our families on our backs. We have black men for that. We have black men to step in and be the backbone of the family and the backbone of the community and the backbone of these organizations. That's what black men are for. But black women have been so brainwashed till they hear this and it makes them feel important. It makes them feel special. It makes them feel like they're being acknowledged and being accepted and being lifted up by the dominant society. So they buy into these tricks. And they allow these lies and these false narratives to continue to separate them from the black man, which keeps this constant perpetual separation in the black community. Don't keep falling for this. If they really, really cared about us, if they were really that concerned about us, then somebody would have went and found out what happened to that black sister Sandra Bland when she got killed down there. Somebody, like I said in the Oprah video, somebody would have found out what happened to that young black activist that was found in that lake. Somebody would find out what happened to that young black woman that was found in that swimming pool dead. Somebody would be down there raising hell about that black a pregnant woman that was shot 5 times by the police officer. Somebody would be raising hell, and there would be a whole lot of media coverage about these 75,000 plus missing black women and black girls, if black women were so important in America. Understand, sisters, you're only important to them when they want to use you. They only prop you up. They only acknowledge you. They only praise you. They only give you that pat on the back or that pat on the head when they want to use you for something. When they want to use you to push their narratives. When they want to use you to push out their lies. When they want to use the face of the black woman to be out there to spread their propaganda. If they were so concerned about black women, where was the protesters? When all of these Asian men were physically jumping on black women in nail salons. When those 3 Middle Eastern dudes had that fist fight with those black sisters at that gas station. Where were they? Where was Kamala Harris? Where was Oprah Winfrey? Where was metoo? Where was Tarana Burke? Where was Shireen Mitchell? Where were all these fake activists and all of that when all of this was going on? And black women being beaten down in the streets. Black women being killed in the streets. So don't let them fool you into believing that all of a sudden they care about you. That all of a sudden they're concerned about you and your welfare. And they're concerned about the things that you're concerned about. If they were concerned about the things that you were concerned about, then they would bring forth a black agenda. And they would lay out some tangibles. And they would lay out some specific things that they're going to do specifically for you and your community. So don't buy into this. It's another one of them old divide and conquer tactics where they divide us and then they conquer us. But because with all our internal issues, and we do have internal issues, every group has internal issues. Every community has internal issues. And we do have internal issues. But with all our internal issues, we are stronger together than when we are separated. And these young women are the very young women that they will try to recruit into the feminist movement and all of that. And the next thing you know, if you're not careful, these very young women will be the next generation of women who are out bashing black men, bashing heterosexual black men. So please don't fall for this. Please don't fall for this. Please don't let them make you think that all of a sudden they're finally just recognizing, you know what I'm saying? And they're finally conceding how important and how beautiful and how wonderful and how educated and intelligent and poised the black woman is. They've always known that. There are black women that have always had intelligence and beauty and poise. But they need black women now to get them where they want to go. They need to use black women as the vehicle to get them where they're trying to get to. And they will heap as much praise and as much glory and as much acknowledgement and as much attention on black women as they need to in order to get that black vote. Since Kamala Harris couldn't do it for them, we'll figure out another way. They're pulling out all the stops. And black women, now is the time for you to use the wisdom of your ancestors, the wisdom of Ida B. Wells, the wisdom of Harriet Tubman, the wisdom of Madam C.J. Walker. And our other black female ancestors, that the wisdom of the late Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. The wisdom of these women. It's time for us to pull on their wisdom. so we can take the veil off of our eyes and see what they're really up to. You know, but I saw others, a couple of others online doing videos on this, and I figured, okay, yeah, this is something that we need to talk about. This is something that we need to push, because we need to make sure that this stuff is not luring the black woman back into sleep. You understand what I'm saying? And not working on her psyche, you know, and not getting that black woman back in that mind thought where she feels like she's better than the black man, or she feels like she's more important, or she feels like she's necessary, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like I definitely needed to chime in though on this as a black woman, as a foundational black American woman. And more foundational black American women need to chime in on this. You need to chime in on this. And we need to call this out for what it is. It's just a tactic. It's just a tactic by the dominant society and the Democratic Party to get that black woman to fall back in line and to show up at the polls on voting day and cast her vote Democratic. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. And like I said, I'm not taking anything from these beautiful young black women. I'm not taking anything from them. The point is, they were beautiful. They were intelligent. They were poised. They were magnificent. They were awesome. They were exceptional. The moment they were born into this world, because they are black women. And they don't need the dominant society to make it so. They don't need the dominant society to validate that. This is about getting on code and staying on code. This is about paying attention. This is about having that conversation with your daughters and having that conversation with your sons. And letting them know the tricks. And if you don't know the tricks, then you listen until you learn the tricks so you can teach them the tricks so that they won't fall for the tricks. The bottom line is, anytime you got all of this going on with the dominant society, especially in mainstream media, and black folks, period, whether it be a black man or a black woman, especially foundational black Americans, are being lifted up and being propped up. You understand what I'm saying? And being given all kinds of awards and all kinds of acknowledgments and all of this kind of stuff. You got to stop for a minute and you got to look at that. And you got to be suspect of that. Why? Because why is your oppressor, who wants you either as a slave or dead? There's no in between. He either wants you as a slave or dead. The only reason why there's any in between now is because he just couldn't help it. Why is your oppressor going to do anything to help you? Why is your oppressor going to do anything to lift you up? Why is your oppressor going to do anything to empower you? Think about that. Always think about that. When you see black folks in America all of a sudden being lifted up, and all of a sudden being propped up, and all of a sudden being acknowledged, and all of a sudden being praised, and all of a sudden being promoted, and all of a sudden their faces over here and their faces over here, and all of a sudden mainstream media just loves them, and they just become mainstream media darlings. And pay attention to that. That's suspect. Your oppressor is not going to do anything to benefit you. unless you are somehow benefiting him. Please like this video. Please share this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Thank you to my subscribers. You are much, much appreciated. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for the comments. Please hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when we upload videos. The links to the article and the interview on CNN will be in the description box, along with the link to the PayPal for the channel. But pay attention, folks. Don't be fooled. Don't be deceived. Don't be distracted. Pay attention. Know when you're seeing the same foolishness over and over and over and over and over again. Just like they put Lizzo on the cover of Time magazine, and Time magazine calls her, what is it, the artist of the year or the performer of the year or whatever. You know, and there are a few people that, you know, that kind of don't understand that. You know, they kind of might be a little bit out of shape about that or whatever. But I understand it perfectly. They are calling her exactly what she is. They are calling her exactly what they see her as. The performer of the year. What did I say? That's what she does. She performs for them. She entertains them. That's how she gets her butter biscuits and her nigger trinkets. By performing and entertaining them. So as far as as they're concerned, once she pulled that last little stunt with all of her behind out and everything at the Lakers game, that won her the performer of the year. And that's exactly what she is. She's the performer of the year. Ain't no need for us to get upset about that. They letting you know that as far as they're concerned, she is the minstrel, the clown, the performer, the entertainer that won the award. So pay attention. Pay attention and start seeing all of this for what it really is. And some of it is hard to digest. Some of it's hard to swallow. Some of it is hard to accept. But the sooner you digest it, the sooner you accept it, the sooner you chew it up, swallow it, and keep it down, the better off you be. Y'all have a good night.